Thank you for joining me for this video from Battleground Europe World War II Online on how to spot ground targets. One of the best ways is to search for puffs of smoke or tracer rounds, and if somebody's shooting at you like right here and you can see them, you give them a little love by dropping a few eggs on their heads. But the main thing is to try to use all the things that you have available to you. Like there, I checked on the map, I saw that somebody had marked a tank, and then when I turned, I looked and saw that there was a death mark on the ground. So I came back, and sure enough, there was a tank there. And as you can see, that any kind of a vehicle that's running across the ground will leave a cloud of dust, which you can see from a pretty good distance. Now here at Bouillon is the beginning of the attack, so there isn't a whole lot going on at the moment. So I'm searching for anything, any telltale signs, any EFMSs, puffs of smoke, trails. Over here I happen to notice a name tag of a friendly in that area. I checked the map, there was nothing marked. I went back, and sure enough, real close to where he was attempting to approach this spawn bunker. FMS they call them, or if it's an enemy it's an EFMS, and I marked it on the map, and that drew the attention of several others. A friendly tank came over to the hilltop and started shooting down at it, and at the same time the enemy was trying to defend it. And I noticed there was an ATG, which is an anti-tank gun, trying to get out to intercept our friendly, and at the same time there was a flak gun. So I'm attempting to shoot both, try to keep them suppressed as much as possible, try not to let the friendly die, and at the same time stay alive as well. Here over the city, we're taking a look to see if we can find any kind of enemy stuff going on, and I found another EFMS. And if you hit them with enough cannon rounds, you can take them down. But the main thing that's going on here, so I wanted you to see, as each time I come in, there's something different going on. They're trying to get out. They're throwing smoke because there's friendly infantry in the area, trying to intercept them. And I find there's a flak gun pulling out, and I managed to get him. Now, I did a lot of chopping of the video, so you didn't have to see me do this, but I'm showing you here how long it takes to get around, and this is going as fast as I can to get the plane turned around. So there's quite a bit of things that can happen in the meantime. So essentially, as I'm pulling in, I'm looking for enemy infantry, I'm looking for flak guns, anti-tank guns, and besides some of the friendlies in the area, several of them got in too close to the EFMS, and consequently were taken out. And also, one of those happened to be this tank right here. Unfortunately, you don't want to pull in right on top of their spawn location, because they can spawn in beside you where you can't see them, and subsequently end up getting sapped. That's what happened here, unfortunately. So what would have been a better thing for him to do is to sit back about 2 buildings back down that road there, still have a straight shot at it, and be able to take out anything that's coming out of that spawn point, and stay far enough away so that you're protected from sappers being able to pull up right next to you as they spawn in. Anyway, so you take a look, you can see there's enemy infantry. Hopefully you're watching this on a wide screen, or as big a screen as you have, so that you can get close-up of what exactly I can see as well. Here at an FB, talking about those telltale trails of dust and stuff, there's a Morris puller pulling out of this FB. And of course, not only is there a telltale trail of dust and smoke, but the Morris pullers have the infamous canopy covered, which is a canvas, does no protection whatsoever, but it sticks out like a sore thumb. So it makes it a real easy target to be able to spot. Here I saw several puffs of smoke coming out of a bush line. I dropped my last bomb, which was my 250 kilogram, happened to hit directly on the back end of the I believe it was a panhard, and it didn't explode and burst into flames, which is always cool to see, the graphics and stuff, but it pancaked the panhard so that it was broken in half, and his wheels were splayed out to the side, so that it literally knocked his wheels off. One thing too, to look for, especially in nighttime. If somebody starts shooting at you, you see the tracer rounds, it's going to lead back to right where they are. One thing you want to do if you're smart is you don't do it near your spawn point. Now, logic states that this flat gun can't get there by himself from his FB, which is a couple kilometers away. So he either was there by being towed by a truck, which I marked on the map, and or they set up a FMS. And sure enough, as you can see here, there's an FMS there. And I didn't really care too much about the flat gun. I just wanted to get things marked. Also, somebody said they heard audio, and I'm reading, that's one of the things I use is I'm reading the chat down below. They heard a tank. So I'm out here, I turn off my engine, I'm gliding along, looking for this tank, wondering just where he could be. Their mark on the map gave me an idea as to which direction to go from, but it was not an accurate mark. It was just a guesstimate. So I cranked my engine back up, got turned around, turned it back off again, and I'm gliding through. And as I come up over the tops of these trees, I see off to the right of my screen here that there's a little bit of dust. Lo and behold, there's a tank. So I decided to crank it back up again and start marking it on the map so that everybody else can see where it's at. I'm flying an E1, so there's nothing I can do to harm it unless he happens to have his hatch open and I shoot down through the top of his hatch and kill his commander or get a couple of ricochets and wound a couple other people in the tank. There's not much I can do, but I can use my machine guns, and they'll be seen as tracers from the ground position, and that points to where this tank is. I keep marking on the map, and then I give a more precise mark by using my bullets. I try to update the map every so many seconds or so that it shows the progress of the enemy tank, and mark it off, and then I come back and either point my plane at it or at the same time go back and fire my tracers, my bullets, so that the friendlies can see where the enemy tank is. And after I've done this several times, I end up with a friendly tank not too far away, just over the hill. And if you notice here, as I come up and around, you'll see that there's a few tank rounds coming in towards the enemy. Just after I mark it here, you'll see that they finally get sight of him. Got a friendly sitting up just over the top of the hill there, about a half a kilometer away. There's the rounds coming in. Now I fire one last time just to make sure that they can see him, because sometimes there's trees and bushes in the way. So I come back around, and our friendlies basically got him ranged and takes him out. Now here I'm back at one of the FBs. Again, I believe this is another Morris puller trying to get out. Yep, sure enough. You can see the dust trail and the top. And I'm not shooting at it. I'm trying to let the green tags there that need some points to see if they can take it out. Now here up at Moordike, I'm diving in. This is in full speed, regular. Now I want you to see if you can spot something. I spotted it right off the bat, but I'm basically coming through, and I'm just, keeping my eyes straight ahead. However, I'm looking with my peripheral vision for anything that doesn't look normal. So here I've slowed it down and let you take a look at it. If you look ever so slightly to the left of my reticle, now almost 90 degrees to the left of my airplane, is lo and behold, a Morris puller with its canvas top. So I go ahead and pull up. I'm going to go swing around and see if I can take a few shots at it. And on this first pass, I had a little bit of a trouble because the trees didn't render until I was right almost directly on top of it. And that's gave them some protection for my bullets from this angle. At first it didn't look like it was going to be a problem, but then the trees popped in. So I go ahead and update their mark, because they were off by about a good 800 meters from where it was located. And I swung back around, came in from due north, get a 90-degree angle, that way I can get past through all those trees, and basically was able to take it out before they could set up a spawn point. Now you notice there's tracer rounds. Again, I'm using anything and everything. Tracer rounds are coming from somebody, and obviously they're shooting at me. So I'm looking up over my shoulder. I see friendly fire going out towards where the flak gun is. There's more than one out there, but they're not all shooting at the same time. And but I see the general direction of the friendly fire, so I'm just trying to get myself lined up on it. And at the last second, I see where the enemy flak gun is, and was able to take him out. Again, it's using a lot of peripheral vision, looking for tracers and smoke, just about anything I can think of. Got another flak gun right here, same sort of thing. I wasn't able to drop a bomb on him, or I couldn't shoot him because I was not quite lined up on him. Now, if you look up way up high, you'll see there's a little bit of a smoke out there. Somebody's trying to keep from being seen from somebody who I don't know. So it gets my attention and draws me that direction, and I come to take a look to see what's going on. I checked the map. There's nothing really marked. There was one tank out there, but that's not where the smoke is. So I go ahead and come around and zoom in, and I see an FMS. And apparently the FMS is using the smoke to keep from being seen. However, if there's a friendly, on my side, enemy for them, looking that direction, that's going to draw the attention. And obviously that's what happened. I was able to drop a couple eggs in through the trees there where there was a couple flak guns, and they stopped shooting, so I'm not sure if I hurt them or what. And then you can see the FMS off to my right, and I go ahead and mark an accurate mark for where that's located. This is before the latest patch update, so normally we would use a truck to indicate that there was either a truck or somebody setting up a spawn point. Now we can actually mark a spawn location. And coming in here, you'll see that I can just kind of see something. I thought it was an infantry fighting position, but it turns out it was a Bofors trying to push out. Blended in so well. Also, there's another Bofors back in that vehicle tent. So I come back around and get myself lined up. The friendly drops his eggs in here. Unfortunately, he's a little low, so I know he's dead. He hurt himself if he's not dead. Anyway, I'm coming into the tent. Somebody else spawns in. A Bofors sees me coming in, spawns right back out, and I got the one that was trying to get outside of the tent. And I did hit those trees, by the way. I just cut the video. Coming around over here on the other side of the town, it's the same, all in the same battle. I'm looking for a mark for Laffy, and there it is, by the way, but I didn't see that. I was going off of the mark on the map, and I did not. I was trying to use that general direction, but I just did not actually see the Laffy there setting up a FMS. So anyway, I tried to see if I could see any infantry or anything going towards that. Of course, they hadn't spawned in yet. I didn't know that, but hard to say. And then as I come back around, you'll see again the framework is in the way a little bit, but that Laffy's still sitting there in the middle of his building an FMS. And then as I come back around, if I continued my turn, I would have been great, but I rolled out of it, again looking to see if I could spot any infantry or anything moving towards these watchtowers, and couldn't see them. Anyway, went on. There's an FMS there at the end of the trees. It's difficult to see, but it's not a normal position for bushes at the end of those type of trees there. So I was able to spot it and mark it. Here coming in, this is an enemy FB that we are attacking, and I'm just trying to show you what it looks like when you're looking for enemy infantry. And I just turned off all the call signs and stuff, so I can't see anything. So it just kind of give you an idea what you would see if it was enemy. So anyway, I see the vehicle. I can see a bunch of infantry running around. I'm not going to comment on the how they're trying to get the FB here. simply because unfortunately they ended up wasting a few people, and there's tactics involved with taking down an FB. Just don't drive up to it and then drive away. But anyway, you can see the infantry, some of them being shot at from different areas. After our engineers were killed, they tried to pull out of Bofors, and myself and one of the other guys converged on it together. Coming in at this FB, you can see that there's an armor pulling out of that. Turns out it was a Churchill, and luckily I'm flying a 110 FB, so I figured, oh well, let's see, what can we do with this? So I looped up over the top, come down. Since that tank is moving forward, I've got to drop in front of it, and still the drop point is at the bottom of the screen, or the bottom of the reticle there. So anyway, and you can see it was a direct hit, 2 bombs, and the tank was basically dead in the water, or dead on the ground, however you want to say it. He never moved after that, so I figured he must be dead, and he despawned within a few seconds. Now, on this one here, again, I'm looking for telltale signs, either friendly fire coming in towards something, or in this case, puffs of smoke and tracer rounds of going out. So I know I've got an enemy tank or ATG or something in this area. There's a sudden concussion, and I look back and I didn't die, so therefore it was a friendly explosion. And it turns out that my mission leader was right behind me, and he happened to have a couple bombs, and apparently he either rode the bombs in or had a glitch and couldn't pull out. But anyway, the tank was definitely dead at that point. But again, I was using smoke puffs. As you can see here, there's smoke puffs up in the top of the screen, there's smoke puffs down to the left of the screen and down by the FB, and there's also another tank even further up in the big green patch as well. So there's 3 tanks here, and as I come around you'll be able to see the third one, and I almost ate the ground right there. I was shooting at it, but I can't really hurt it. But you can see in the green patch there's that third tank down in over my left shoulder. And those are the types of things that I'm looking for to give me clues as to what I want to shoot at, what I'm going to hit. Here I see a friendly and he's smoking, so obviously something's going on. I happened to dive in, and there were 2 enemy infantry had been shooting at him. I don't know if they were ATR rifles or what they were, but anyway, I dove in, managed to take both of them out, and then came back. Since the friendly didn't see them die, they could have been in the bush line or whatever, I strafed the bush line, and then he's driving back and forth to see if he could squish them, since apparently they got his gunner. Also, in the same general area, start coming back, and there's strafing the bush line, and you notice to my right there's an enemy infantry coming out of the trees. It was just a little tiny glimpse, so I was able to go back and mark it on the map. Also, when you're looking at ships, I just showed that for a second, you can see them forever, so there's not much in the way of having to look for ships. And if you look at one of my videos I did earlier on the free play intermission that we had a little while back, and I did a whole bunch of stuff on how to identify the ships. Here I'm coming in, I spotted a tank, but at the last second I saw an even better target, a Laffy. So I strafed the Laffy. I'm coming back around to make sure that the driver's dead so that he can't spawn or anything. And then I just kind of keep looking to see if I can spot anything in that general area, since we had several friendlies, panzers that were wiped out. And so I'm checking to see if I can find any infantry or whatever that might still be running around in that vicinity. Once I turn around, you'll see if you can count how many there are on the screen. Of course, when you're flying fast like this, you can't really turn instantaneously. So not much I can do about it, but you see one to the left, one's directly in front, and there's also one back to the right, which was just a tiniest little glimpse. And then, of course, I got enemy air coming into the target area. So since I'm looking down, I'm going to end up getting bounced, but I wanted to make sure I got as much stuff on the ground as possible. So I shooting. There was enemy infantry there. They're running past, so our friendly tanks have been basically all wiped out in that area. And somebody was dropping bombs on one of the tanks, and at the same time there's lots of infantry running through that bush line. So, and you can see some more tanks, tracer rounds coming out. There's flat guns. I'm getting hit, but I'm still trying to mark, even though I keep getting whacked. I'm marking stuff, the infantry, the tanks, the M10 right there. I could have dove down on top of that and killed it, but I was still trying to mark everything for all the other friendlies in the area so they know what's going on. So I'm trying to get an idea of where they're at, and of course I do the bush line again, essentially just ignoring the M10, and my plane is flying and bobbing all over the place. It's not flying too well, simply because I've been hit already several times. And in fact, you'll see a concussion right here coming up, where they whack me while I'm right there while I'm trying to mark on the map. So I got the couple tanks marked. I'm not going to worry about trying to mark the flat guns, because you can pretty much see where that's coming from at this point. But essentially, that's what it's like to look for ground targets. You've got, here's a panhard coming up, and I managed to clip him with my wingtip. I don't think I hurt him much, but I know I hurt me. And I went down. And then another pan coming out of the same town, and I was trying to cut him off, but those darn things are hard to hit when they're moving fast. So anyway, essentially, that's what it's like to look for ground targets, shoot at them, some from through the trees. Try to keep your eye on them when you're making turns and stuff. A lot of times when you're marking on the map, you take your eye off of it and then you lose track of where it was. So sometimes it's better to just wait until later in marking, but try to mark it when you can, as best you can. Anyway, thank you for watching my video on how to spot ground targets on Battleground Europe World War II Online. Thank you.